What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our Kentucky Derby updates. Lots to talk about this week. We'll recap what happened in the Risen Star and in the Sunland Derby. We'll talk about what's coming up next week. And John and I will have updated top fives. All right, let's get right to it. Let's update what happened last week. And we're talking Risen Star Stakes right here. And it was Paladin, the favorite at 3-5, getting the job done. He wins the race. Chip Poncho, the Steve Asmussen trained horse, is second. Golden Tempo finishes third. To break down the race first, it really was a pretty simple kind of setup. Chip Poncho, who had been forwardly placed, but never really like on the lead and in a good margin in front in these races for the Kentucky Derby, for the prep races, he gets out in front and they kind of just let him cruise around there. He gets the lead. The track was playing pretty favorable to speed all day long on the main track. And it looked for a while like he was going to take him gate to wire and pull off another Risen Star victory for Steve Asmussen. And really the only horse making up much ground, to be within striking distance was Paladin, who sat just a little bit upper mid pack, I would say, into this race. And it took the entire length of the stretch. Paladin does get the job done, gradually getting by about a half length at the end, but didn't get, nose to nose for a while there before he finally was able to get him past. So Paladin picks up the victory. Chip Poncho, very brave to finish second. Golden Tempo, just too far out of it once again. He was way, way back. Track was favoring speed. The pace was not very fast in this race. Golden Tempo closes late, but is seemingly a mile back for third. You break down the three horses here, and Golden Tempo, it's kind of what I said before the race. He's got to have everything kind of go his way if he continues to have this running style. And not only is he a closer, he is tremendously far back. Well, I mean, he is way, way back there. It is almost impossible to win dirt races with any kind of consistency. When you have that running style, you're going to need a hot pace, or you're going to need horses that aren't very good in front of you. If you watch him, when he winds up and makes his run, I mean, he is really flying, but they're not stopping up front. He's way too far back. So I don't know what you do with Golden Tempo moving forward. I think he can make the Kentucky Derby. The one good news, a piece of good news, if Golden Tempo makes the Derby, I mean, after what we've seen the last few years, the pace has been there. I'm not sure it's going to be there enough for him to win, but it's there. He can make a big run, so I wouldn't give up on him quite yet. It seemed like Jose Ortiz kind of wanted to get him involved early, and the horse just didn't want to do it. So I don't know. It's hard to get real excited about him with the running style that he has. He's just always going to be up against it, no doubt about it. Chip Poncho, a horse that I have never liked from the start, continues to run well, and I thought was going to beat Paladin in this race for the longest time. He got the right setup on the right track, but hey, give him credit. The other horses, there were other horses with speed in here that they had the option to do the same thing. They couldn't do it. Chip Poncho did it. Good on him. He almost wins it. He's probably in the Derby now for Steve Asmussen after the second place finish. Listen, I have nothing bad to say about him. I guess quit doubting him now because, he almost stole this thing on the front end. And then finally, Paladin, exactly almost to a T what I thought we would see from him. I knew going into the race we would not see the best version of Paladin. That's not going to happen. Not in the first race of the year for Chad Brown. And we have a very interesting kind of pattern forming with these Chad Brown horses, especially since the Risen Star extended their distance of 1.1 miles. And I just kind of wanted to point out, because Zandon and Sierra Leone, and now Paladin is on the path. It's going to take the same exact path to the Kentucky Derby. Now, Chad Brown has never won a Kentucky Derby, but Zandon ran an awfully good third, Sierra Leone an awfully good second. So he's done a good job of getting the best horse in his barn to the race. And for Zandon and Sierra Leone, they've used the same kind of tactic that he's going to use with Paladin. Now, let's even think back to Good Magic, who did not come over here to run in the Risen Star. Instead went to the Holy Bull and didn't run very well. Then went to the Bluegrass and ran exceptionally well and much better. And then second in the Kentucky Derby. But let's forget about him for a second and just focus on Zandon and Sierra Leone. So Zandon in the Remsen Stakes received a 90 by airspeed figure. He then went to the Risen Star where he got a 93. And then you see the progression, a 93 to a 98 in the Bluegrass, a 98 in the Kentucky Derby. You go to Sierra Leone, who ran in the Rimson and got a 91, moves up and gets a 95 in the Risen Star, moves up again, gets a 98 in the Bluegrass, and then a 99 in the Kentucky Derby. And then now you look at Paladin, an 85 in the Rimson, so he was lower from a Beyer speed figure standpoint than his predecessors here with Sierra Leone and Zandon. He jumps up to a 93 in the Risen Star. I might want to note, Renegade jumped up to a 92 after that Rimson, and now Paladin jumps up to a 93. Makes me think that number might be a tad low. That's two very similar jumps from horses that ran similar races the race before, but I digress. He gets a 93 here. Very similar to exactly to the 93 of Zandon, Sierra Leone 95. Here's the key. It's not just automatic that the source is going to develop and run that 98, 99 Beyer speed figure in the Bluegrass, but evidence kind of shows us this is probably the worst race of his season just happened. He will probably just progress and get better and better as we go. So it was a nice win. If you thought he was going to run a triple-digit Beyer, if you thought he was going to win by 5, that's just not the style that Chad Brown has shown us with the horses running first out. Zandon didn't even win the Risen Star. He was third. And then, of course, Sierra Leone did win the Risen Star. So just kind of the example of what I wanted to lay out there. I think Paladin is right on track. I think, you look at what the crop is right now, it's light, but I think he's right on track. Do I think he is a very strong number one and you better bet him with all you got right now? Absolutely not. But I think he's right on track to be Chad Brown's best chance to win the Kentucky Derby based on history, based on how he brings him along. I fully expect him to run a better race in the Bluegrass that sets him up for the biggest race in the Kentucky Derby. So I think this was absolutely perfect from Paladin. I think he is in a perfect spot moving forward. Again, I got him number one. It's not that great of a crop. I don't necessarily think he's an all-out world-beating type of horse, but I think he's progressing the way you would want to see it. And as of right now with this crop, I think he's number one. All right, let's go on to the Sunland Derby, where I think Pavloni, oh my goodness, Pavlovian is number 2. Just kidding. No, I do not. Yeah, I'm having just as much trouble as the Sunland track announcer who yelled Express Kid was the winner like 26 times when he lost the photo to Pavlovian. This was, you got to go back and watch the replay with the sound on. That's all I got to say. But this wasn't that great of a race, but it was a very exciting race between Pavlovian and Express Kid to the wire. Express Kid led every step of the way except the last step, where Pavlovian was able to wear him down late and get the job done. These are second-rate horses, I should say. I don't think this is anything, to write home about. But look, they're on the trail. A race maybe like the Virginia Derby could be next, maybe. I think that's the kind of spots, kind of take the back road into the Kentucky Derby. But not much from me here. I didn't get overly excited about this race, other than it was a very exciting finish, and the track announcers was hilarious and not in a good way. All right, let's get to the top 5s now. No changes really for John or I, either one. I'll go through mine right now. I've got Silent Tactics sitting there at number 5, and I thought he closed up nicely. A really good race for him as well. A horse that should be getting better on the dirt. And look, we'll run again probably at Oaklawn, and probably if there's pace, we'll be come running and look pretty good. Number 4 is Commandment. Waiting for him to come back. He was solid in the Mucho Macho Man. Kind of feels like that was forever ago, because as far as Kentucky Derby time, it kind of is 6 weeks ago for Commandment. I think we'll see him in the Holy Bull, in the Fountain of Youth. The Fountain of Youth is probably where he's going to go. So kind of excited to see what Commandment will do there. He's at number 4, nearly number 3 for me. Winner, speaking of the Holy Bull, winner of the Holy Bull, probably waiting to the Florida Derby to run next. Nothing wrong with how he won the Holy Bull. Very, very impressive. And a horse that certainly should be on the radar. Number 2, Renegade, of course, second place finisher of the Rimson, and then won the Sam F. Davis last time out. I I don't really know where he's going to go next. I would imagine Tampa Bay Derby would be the perfect spot. So we'll see if Renegade shows up there. And number one, like I mentioned, is going to be Paladin. And again, if you're going to base it off what he's done in the past, no. But if you're going to base it on kind of that form cycle that I laid out, yeah, I think he's number one right now. He's bred to really like a mile and a quarter. He obviously likes a mile and an eighth. Got to get better. And I'll be the first to say he's got to get better. I do not think he's a standout number one at all. I just like the way he's progressing. I thought that was a good enough race. So we've got Paladin at number one. Let's get to John White's now. And yeah, no change for John either. He's got Silent Tactic. Number 5, he'll continue to put Litmus Test number 4 as they wait for him to run in the San Felipe. That's what I've heard from Litmus Test. So, and I took him out, but he's looming, so I understand keeping him in and kind of taking that wait and see approach. Let's wait and see what he does. And obviously, nothing else is really totally jumping off the page right now. 3 for John is Renegade. 2 for John is Paladin. And he's still got nearly number 1 off that win in the Holy Bull. And I think it's interchangeable between 1, 2, 3, maybe even go down the list if we see a couple of other ones. So, but John has nearly number 1. All right, John White's comments this week. Paladin's victorious performance in the Risen Star Stakes produced a 93 by her speed figure. And while 93 is not going to knock your socks off, keep in mind it was slightly better than the 92 assigned to the accomplished older horse Hit Show for his win in the Mineshaft Stakes on the Risen Star undercard. In terms of my Kentucky Derby top 5 this week, nearly is just barely clinging to the top spot, while Paladin is a very close number 2. The next race for Paladin is scheduled to be the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland on the first Saturday in April, followed by the Run for the Roses at Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May. Meanwhile, up next on the road to the Kentucky Derby is the John Battaglia Memorial, which will be run this coming Saturday at Kentucky's Turfway Park. And as John always does, a little segue to what's coming up this week. We've got a couple of international races, one in Dubai and one in Japan. We don't know who's running in those yet, so won't make any comments on that here. But international horses certainly it's kind of a thing they're trying to add flavor to for sure. So, but when we get to the John Battaglia Memorial, got the field up for you here. The local prep winner, Street Beast, is back. The second place horse from that one, full effort back as well. Stop the car. Coming out of that fairground circuit, now going to try it here at Turfway. At field, a pretty nice horse as well. So there's a lot of horses here that maybe you feel like more turfy or maybe a little bit of a cut below, but Turfway's been decent at producing not only a winner, a couple winners, but some horses that hit the board at pretty big prices. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the John Battaglia Memorial. All right. That'll do it for this week, guys. Just a quick update there for you. Let us know in your comments what you think about Paladin and, all the horses, not just Paladin, but all the horses. We've got those 3 races. We'll kind of recap all of them next week, and then we'll look ahead as the 50-point races are back on February 28th with the Fountain of Youth and the Gotham, and then the Rebel on March 1st. So next week's show, we'll preview those 3. All right. That'll do it for this week, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alert anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, come back next week for another Kentucky Derby update.